Yeah.
Do you hear the clap in the background?
Come on, I cannot hear the fans, man. What up, love? What up, world? What up? Oh, my fault.
Yeah.
Gang.
What's up, man? What's up, Rob Hegan, man? What's up, man?
Up to you, my brother. Yes, the 80th in the building, y'all. Love, man. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Second time, everything worked out. Thank you, God. Love.
Yeah, that's right, man. What's up? So,
Yeah.
yeah, so we here, man, having like another manuscript, man. Another week, another Monday.
Gang, gang.
We were live last week, right? I'm not bugging. It was the week
For
before we
sure,
weren't
for
live. Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. We weren't live. Yeah, we were live last week, man. We're here back with another Monday of the manuscript. Having conversation where we always have about stuff that's going on with us, stuff that we see related to mental health and men and what's going on in the world. And so, before we get into how we're feeling, just want to outline that today will be a cool, pretty cool but difficult topic. Because we will get into talking about domestic violence, intimate partner violence, specifically like when men deal with it.
Discretion is advised.
When men deal with it as a topic. I mean, for those who don't or may not know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is also a lot of other things get celebrated in this month as well, so it may get drowned out. But just know if you see the purple ribbons anywhere, understand that that is the symbol raising awareness for domestic violence during the month of October. And so when Rob shared that that's something that he brought to me about, like, hey, is that something we can discuss? I was like, hell yeah, why not? Jump right into it, because the timing is always relevant. Again, it is October, but I think anytime we talking about this topic is going to be relevant. It's so complex. Um, it affects us all, I do believe. So, yeah, man. Just wanted to start us off there.
Well, how you feel? How you feeling? How was your day, man? I haven't talked to you all day, type shit.
Well, I've been pretty good, man. I've been pretty good. Thankfully, it's been a chill day. Can't complain so far. Oh, I put the feeling wheel.
Indigenous People Day.
It definitely is. It definitely is. We wanna give that a shout out, and thankfully we moved on. Hopefully giving people an opportunity to revisit the holiday, also revisit the history. Right. History has gotten rewritten, and it's favored the oppressors, those who've won. But it doesn't. It's not fair to those who suffered. And so it's important that we recognize this day for what it is. It's not about that other guy that did not discover America, but about the people who made this even possible. So yeah, how I'm feeling today. I mean, I'm pretty relaxed, man. I'm pretty relaxed. Um, I was looking at the other wheel. I have the other wheel up. That you showed me, but I'm looking for a word here because definitely relax is coming to me. I had a day off, so I had the day off, so I kind of used it for a day to just relax, lounge. I um, made some music, so I was on earlier making some beats, and those are posted on the drive. So if you want to check those out, um, and then yeah, man, just edited some stuff. So yeah, feeling pretty relaxed, man. I can't complain. I'm trying not to. At first, I had that moment earlier in the morning when I was like kind of lounging and taking my time with things of like, oh, you gotta be productive. You gotta be productive. You be too lazy, and it's like, nah, dude. Just that's what days off are for, to reset. I did do a lot over the weekend. So yeah, I was like, just take it off, man. So how are you, man? How are you feeling? How are you coming in today
Oh,
on
good to
this
hear that.
Monday?
Yeah, I had a relaxed day too, bro. Day off for myself. Felt great. I did. I definitely relate to like. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you up. No, no, you good. Yeah, yeah.
I
You should be
definitely
good on my
relate
side
to
too.
feeling
Um,
like
yeah.
when you're not doing enough. But
Always, man.
I didn't let that.
Gotta battle that.
Today though, I had that in control. Last year was whipped. Like, get out of here. Like, because all these other days I've been working, I've actually started stepping out after work, which I don't like to do. But I've been like, let me do that. And then I just use those days to like, oh, since I'm out, let me branch out more. Like, this is the opportunity. I'm already around here. Let me go here.
Right, right, right,
And
right.
then use a day like today to embrace staying inside, organize my clothes, my closet, my
Mm.
desk. my phone with the lap. I got my baby girl's back. My Mac is back. North
So using, shout out to that.
Carolina. You know what I'm saying? So get the hard drive with the phone popping and get some space. Like it's been a very one-on-one kind of day.
Well, that's good, man. I mean, like, that's always important, bro. You know, just to get organized
Well,
again. Being intentional about
sure.
when you are in your space, also organizing it. I think definitely taking the time to clear out, clutter. You declutter your
Oh, for
space, you
sure.
declutter your mind, man. I do believe in that. So I'm glad you had a
Shout out
chance to
to
do that.
Vinny. That was one of my work mentors. That
Yeah.
he is the first one who put me onto that. It was interesting. Yeah, like a cluttered space is a cluttered mind. So he just liked to clean up a lot. You know what I'm saying? So now I started picking that up, and it was like word, word. I do see that. So
Yeah, man. Yeah. And so, is there anything that stood out to you this week, man? Before we jump into our topic, I know we're gonna get into it, but like, is there anything that stands out? Any feel good stuff? Let's go with that. Any.
feel good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Good,
Let's stay there.
good.
Any feel good
Feel
things?
good was the Knicks, man, doing their thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Shout
Yeah.
out to
Yeah.
MSG,
Yeah,
Knicks doing
man.
their thing. It
They had
was
a
a good
pretty good game,
atmosphere, bro. Yeah, they've been having some great games.
and it's
Cat
only
was there.
preseason, which is crazy. These
Yeah,
preseason games are
but
looking like regular season games, man.
yeah,
They getting us, which is good,
for
man. That was like a great way to
sure. And your team too, bro. Your San Antonio
yeah.
Spurs. I think they 2-0. They was
Yeah.
doing their thing. I
No,
got
no.
you know what I'm saying.
Listen, they're having a pretty good start. I'm looking forward to watching them play
Chris
throughout the
Paul,
season.
Harrison Barnes are
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
veterans that you got on the team that are still very, very like very good for y'all young for the young team you got coming up in San Antonio where Wembanyama could be going for an MVP year since I believe he got rookie.
Yeah. Let's
And
see,
you know,
man. MVP for a second year is ambitious, but let's see.
well, I'm saying, bro, I'm just yeah, but it's the point is to say like he's a freak, like freak of nature, whereas like he's only trying to get better. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
just to strive for that could get y'all into the play-ins. Just striving for that. That's the point. Because that's the same thing what I see with Orlando. That's just basketball, feel good talk. Um, it felt good to see the attorney for P Diddy come out and look ridiculous trying to talk about yeah, he came out and said some shit
Really?
where he was trying to like speak on
The
the
fuck out
fact
of
that
here.
they should release him because they can't be holding him just because of the sake of what they think he might do, right? Like they think he might flee or they think it was this. Like until there's reasonable cause and
Oh
there's actual
my
proof, they should
god.
free him. But the whole time he's doing this and he's speaking and he's doing that. And I was like, oh, look at Lord, where this man can't open his mouth.
Eyes
And
can't
eyes
face.
because
Yeah.
he's bullshitting himself. That's how I read it. So
And
I
that
was just
always,
like,
man. It's
that
like
feels good.
if you're gonna defend your man, defend them with your chest, open, man. Like,
Jeez.
but
My
they
man was like this, speaking
nah,
like
bro. You know what
this
that's about.
pro out there trying to convince himself.
They gotta play that
Oh,
game, man. That's just
crazy.
sad, is that they
But
gotta
yeah,
play
his
that
job.
game and do his job and protect his client, really. Which is like we know the
Yeah,
game, man. We know the game.
yeah,
Um, but it goes to show you, right? Like these people have a job to do, and sometimes they do a really good one at it. Because it does convince. They
right.
do well.
That's that Kardashian
They
shit.
sway public opinion, really
Robert
heavily.
Kardashian was on his that was his thing.
They sway public opinion. I mean, where are you? In like getting into the topic, right? If we're talking about domestic violence, I mean, what Diddy did, people are making fun of the lotion and the baby oil and all that type of stuff. But to me, all those jokes kind of drowned out the video, and that got released with him pretty much assaulting Cassie in a really nasty way. And not only that, but the lawsuit itself was released. So you could read through it yourself if you're really curious about what he did. I mean, it's a lawsuit. So these are statements that people are making officially. So you can read through Cassie's words and through the attorney, like what she says about what he did to her and her experiences of Diddy. And there's a lot of physical abuse. That was the video that we all saw to the public was not the only time he got a physical with her. And if you know anything about domestic violence, you would know that whenever there's signs of physical abuse, there's likely other signs already. So you don't get to the amount of violence that you've seen Diddy do to Cassie without him having to like either slap her before, or maybe he pinched her, or maybe he yanked her arm really hard when she tried to leave. He yanked her.
Or the all the videos that we see now where they're even on red carpets and you're trying to keep your best performance, but things happen that you can't really count, and then he pulls her closer.
Yeah.
And it looks, those small little details now where I'm looking at like, at this moment he's hiding. So what can God show me that he can't hide? And it's
Yeah.
all those little looks that he gives her when he pulls her closer, when people are trying to connect to her and give her compliments and weird shit, bro. Like,
Yeah.
where I'm like, damn.
Yeah, you can start to
But
see. You can start to see it, right? Like, whoa,
yeah.
okay, so these
But like
behaviors, but
again,
that's if you
granted, I
know.
don't want to ever
If
name
you know,
like
yeah.
jealousy, abuse,
Right.
but that's only because
I
that's what
mean,
we see. So now that there's proof of actual video that there's abuse and physical violence, I'm not making I'm not making excuses for you. I'm not getting, there's no benefit of the doubt. Matter of fact,
nah.
not that I could even make excuses. There's just no benefit of the doubt. It's like, nah, bro. That's what I mean. I'm grateful, bro. My father has a lot of problems, but the one thing again I always say, never put a hands on a woman, cause I idolize him. You know, I was like, all right, I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah.
And look at the weird shit that ends up being in the world, where like that seems to have lost value. It's so weird. Where like there's so many other issues. You feel me? Putting your hands on a woman, like we've discussed before,
Yeah.
isn't a fucking medal. It's like you don't deserve a medal for not doing that. That's like perfect attendance. You gotta go to school, be on time, because if you do that at work, you're getting fired. So to me, like not putting my hands on a woman, although that you know what I'm saying, like that's a
Yeah.
good thing. It's not something like clap it up for this good man right here, because there's so many other forms of abuse. You
Yeah,
feel me?
yeah.
Emotional, financial, and you know what I mean. The list goes on. So it's like, you know, that's the weird place that we're at, where it feels like uh fucking one. There's a saying for that where it's not like counting flies or fucking picking straws or some shit like, but it's just, you know what I mean. It's weird. It's like
Yeah.
I guess you gotta dumb it down and talk to them about this before we even talk about that.
Yeah. Well,
But
even in terms of even talking about it, that's what I wanted to ask you or get at is like when you brought up Diddy, it made me think of like you know, just the going back to like how difficult it is to even address these issues of domestic violence. So I saw the clip I did see recently in terms of the case is him walking out of the courthouse with his children.
oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then, you know, folks kind of like having, you know, like
Nice things to say to him. Not even nice things.
not nice things,
We
but I
love your
think
son.
people that, but also like some of the comments about his children and why would they be there, why would they show up, and
Mm,
like, you know, folks kind of going back and forth on this question. So I mean,
mm.
what do you have any thoughts on that? Like, do you like? Is that like should his children be there? Should his children not be there? Like, what's the like?
Well, I feel like that's that. You know, look, my humble opinion, because it's just me, and it's always coming from my perspective
Yeah,
and what I've dealt with, is that, and again, with all due respect, I don't know much. I always think that I, you know, can't really speak on when I'm not there, but it does give off another. It does give off still like another form of abuse, where you know what I'm saying. Family abuse is very different and very subtle, where like they think they have to be there. Or maybe
mm,
he's making them feel they have to be there because it's their name, the Combs name. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels to this where people even get signed into leases and you don't got to be Sean Puffy Combs. You know what I'm saying? Your family will sign you into a lease into like a fucking hole, and now you're in debt because now that's just financial abuse of what they keep doing. You know, there's just forms to this. So
yeah,
it could come off like that. It could come off as humble and nice. Excuse me, not humble, but just genuine and, you know, love from the children. They should be there. That's their father. That's the one that they've been with. They lost their mother. It's all they had. Trauma bonding could be. You know, it could be all these forms of these things. And even though I would say it could be all these negatives, I like to always give power to the fact that we, the people, through God, have God's power and you can make it good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always why I just want to always end on a positive light where, like, throughout all of this, it doesn't have to be bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've prayed for them kids, man. Like, 'cause they got a whole other future where they can flip the script, but they have to be honest with themselves and they have to be leading themselves, not being led by, you know what I'm saying, something else like the
Mm.
Sean Combs name. Like then you're never gonna rebrand, bro. You're never gonna be true to your rebrand, and that's the scary shit because you know mental illness and all of these things run deep. So I have trust issues with like
Yeah.
things like that when people hold on to shit like that, where it's like I don't really know where your loyalty lies. That's why I like to put empower people themselves. Like your loyalty should lie with you, and then I get
Yeah.
to know you. But if your loyalty lies with this vast group of other humans that I don't even know, like your whole family set, the Abreu set, and now it got to be Abreu versus Guzman. Nah, bro, it'll be Abreu versus Rob. Just
Yeah.
like I'm just talking to you from me, like trying to remove it from all the things that try to connect to me, like you know. So shout out
Yeah.
to each individual there, man. I wouldn't expect anybody else, bro. Who else is gonna be there? Somebody gotta be there. Like no, right? Like it's not a good look if they don't even show up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's like not showing up to the funeral. You don't know when you're gonna see him again. Like this is your one chance. That's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely addressed a lot of where my thinking was as well for the
Yeah,
situation. Yeah, man, because it's one, it's again adding to how freaking complicated this issue just even is. But to your point, like,
facts.
right, we don't know if they're being abused either. And I mean, statistically speaking, where there's domestic violence and there's children involved, there's likely child abuse happening. I mean,
Right.
the overlap between child abuse and intimate partner abuse, it's
That veil is
they're
thin, huh?
connected. There is an
Right.
extension, you know. A controlling husband or wife will likely exhibit those same behaviors towards their children. So it could
Right.
be like you were mentioning, and that they, you know, they probably are, to some degree, feel forced to be there. Um, and even so, like this is now again somebody with money. Like this is now you got not only is are you dealing with the complicated nature of like this is my dad, and then they're doing these things, and like you have to make sense of that. How do you also separate just from your dad? You know, not everybody, especially a dad like him, who, as you mentioned, right, there's money involved, likely is taking care of them. They probably have a publicist who might have said like, "Hey, this is we're trying to save the little bit of good PR we got. You want to have a future, right? You want to have a future, right? You got to go to court." So we don't know if like what's behind it, but I do think it does speak to like the fact that folks are commenting on this and just are really readily available to like put their 2 cents without even just even thinking about the stuff we're mentioning right now. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Like I could sit here and be like, yo, that was my dad. F him. I mean, I will say that now at my age, like if my dad was like doing the things that Diddy is um being accused of, I probably wouldn't show up to court. But I would probably again have that conversation with him outside of that. I wouldn't wait to court to have that conversation with him and let him know how I feel about his behavior and his actions. All right. You know, that's my thoughts on it. But
I feel you. I feel you.
yeah, I mean, because some people, I wouldn't live. You know, if my friend does that, a friend of mine that I call a friend does that. Like that's you're putting me now in a tough situation. You know, and I don't. And again, I don't believe it's up to me to help you. Like if that's the case, you know, if you were my dad, like hopefully someone else can address you and help you. But I don't think I'll have the uh not the guts, but the tolerance. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
accountability matters, and it's so unfair. Like the way that people take action and then feel like even themselves what they feel, and then the
hmm
others what they are projecting onto others to think that they matter now. Now that you're caught, now that you're in a down place, now they have to be there for you. It's just unfair. You feel me? But that's why I like what spiritually like my journey's taking me to just hold it, and I feel like that's why we're here for the manuscript, and it started taking off because at some point my journey got to a place where I realized how much it is just about me taking accountability and seeing the power that I have of like because I would let go of a lot of power.
yeah.
You feel me? Like for me is being affected as like what they like to call the good guy in this world type shit. Like I didn't want to hold on to power. You feel me? Because the whole power dynamic between men and women and just with how men looked, it felt weird. But so in that same weird aspect of letting go of power, you end up still making mistakes because there are moments that you should take control and stand up. And that's why I think we're trying to get men to see where it's like where they place their power. That's kind of been the mental trick placed on us about what we think, is strength. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? Where like it's like, oh, somebody randomly comes and disrespects you. It's the way that they tell men here is like, well, you handle that. You know what I'm saying? He's disrespecting your name, your honor, like like he's asking for it, as opposed to seeing the strength of
Yeah.
like, yo, but what if anybody could? That means anybody could just come up and disrespect you, and
Mm-hmm.
now you gotta fight them. Anybody, bro.
Right.
And what if they're like mentally at their mind? It's just like they just broke. What if it's a mistake or confusion? What if the fact that you don't even know, like, you're gonna start this whole thing and something, a collateral damage happens to a child? Like, you're not thinking about all these things around you. Like, it could really be anybody in the name of what? Your
Mm-hmm.
ego and pride. Like, there's more strength to talk about where like some walking away is a choice. So discernment is like a gift that I think many of us have lost in this battle with like ego. You feel me? Like it's a weird thing. Because
Yeah.
it's not married to a gender for me. It's not married to a gender at all.
What
Man,
part?
the part of like kind of like just letting your ego get in the way of like taking accountability and admitting
Right.
you're wrong and not allowing people around you, not allowing their love to trick them to think that they need to be there for you.
Right.
Because when you were struggling and you were making these decisions that were bad, what I'm saying, or quote unquote bad or whatever, that harmful to others, you didn't go for help then. You only went for help or expected help when it was like you had no other options. You didn't feel your freedom anymore. The freedom of choice was taken from you. You know what I mean? Well, that's what we were talking about when it was saying like, sometimes I wonder if these kids feel like they have to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's like Stockholm syndrome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've been there for so long and now it's gone and you kind of just, you're obsessed to get back to what it was. You gotta
Yeah.
be back. And it's like, damn.
Yeah. I would hope that like we will find out very soon like what's the verdict because it sucks when things like this get dragged on as well. I think that's also the saddest part. Just these things being dragged on, man. But it's litigation, bro. As a lawyer, he's gonna have money. He's gonna try to do his best so that this goes away. Yeah. Um, but man, it's
Weird, weird,
complicated.
weird, weird.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know where the word's gonna go. I would love to like stop hearing the no Diddy. I hear the no Diddy way too much.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
man.
and it's like it's
Yeah.
as if like it's like almost it's very interesting if we can tap into the fact that it is trauma. I don't think people are
Yeah.
understanding how we're becoming so much a traumatized people, even in our small language that we just because we laugh at it doesn't mean that it's not as serious as it is. It's serious. You just don't take shit seriously. You can't have look at us. Like I see a lot of people that can't have serious conversation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not and like they think they can, but clock it. It's only for like 3 minutes, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of serious shit going on out here. And we can laugh. I laugh a lot. Like I love it. I love it. I love clowning. But I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
sit down and have these times. Like because it needs to be. I had to learn that balance. So I like the whole no Diddy thing is almost for me like going around and like running around telling people, yo, I'm hetero,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
heterosexual. Like if I wear tight pants and I walk and I gotta say I'm hetero. I wear a pink shirt. I'm just started yelling hetero. Yeah, I like girls. I like girls. No gay shit. No gay shit. No gay shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Everywhere, yeah. You
it's
gotta constantly there, like.
you sound scared, bro.
Uh,
And then and then for me it's like tap in. How can we not understand what it means for the gay community, the LGBTQ plus community?
mm-hmm.
If every time
It's
we
a
gotta
joke.
say no gay shit, imagine like that shit just shows the huge disconnect because then they Like I just don't like. Come on, bro. Think about that
Yeah,
dude.
and no, and not, and again, that Diddy's behaviors are now being,
Every
attached to gay people, and
Yo, it's
so
ridiculous.
now, yeah, it's really sad, man. It's really sad. I definitely listen when the young kids I see try to joke around. I'm laughing less. I'm not using the no Diddy as much, or even joking around. I mean, at first I threw it around and stuff, but it's like when it first came out. But you're right, man. I was like, whoa, what am I doing, man? What am I doing? So had to kind of get back to like taking a seat back and being like, nah, this is not it, man. It's not the wave, man. It's not the wave.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
Um,
imagine, bro. I finally like. It's so weird. Like now, I'm in a place where I don't really want to confuse my relationships with women to be romantic. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But intimacy is something that I'm relearning. You know what I mean? Like intimacy doesn't have to mean sex. And then so if we can be intimate and not have sex, then it still be a friendship. It's not romantic. Like learning and how to navigate those kind of conversations with women. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
allow. That's what I'm where I'm at. And it's so funny though to be there, but then I feel some sort of looming look of like, is he gay? You know what I mean? Because he don't want to like he's not going. He don't want to fuck. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
mm,
and it's so weird like that. It has to be like even discussed. You know what I mean? Me knowing myself,
mm,
it's like it just feels disrespectful, bro. But I gotta work with what the world, the people, bro. I can't like expect them to, especially if like knowing the way the world works in duality. There's probably a man who looks and acts just like me, but is gay. So with all due respect, it's like that man should feel free to talk about it too, right? So
mm,
I should not get angry
mm,
or they feel disrespected because I should be conscious and aware of enough of what the world is actually going through. You
right,
know what I mean? And it just needs to have more conversations of identity. So I play my part as acting, looking like this, but being hetero, and that person should have their conversation of looking and acting the same thing, but being gay, so that
and
people
it's
could look at it like there's no difference, right?
right,
It's
right,
just sexual orientation, and that's his conversation behind his doors and mine behind my doors. That's where that lies. I ain't gotta say it during the workplace or walking the street. No Diddy. I ain't gotta do all of that because I shouldn't even get there.
yeah,
Nowhere near there. If that's my truth.
yeah, man. And all this stuff, like you were saying, makes it complicated, bro. Like I think the no Diddy then doesn't allow us to really grow out of our
Yeah.
our thinking around sexuality. Yeah, it doesn't make us any better.
Nah.
So I think the more we could just move on from that and just really like, he's in court right now. Let's just let him have his day in court. You know what I'm saying? And we'll figure out the rest. But let him have his day in court. And then we'll go from there. And hopefully, all the victims of his behavior, find some. They get us the justice, and whatever that means for them.
hmm
Um,
and what kills me is like it doesn't stop there. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
like there's a lot of people out there who are abusers who are doing the weird things that Diddy does. So it's like it's not just no Diddy. It's like no James, like no Christopher, like all these other names of these random people around in the world who are doing this shit. Like they all need to stop. They all need to find some conviction in the spirit and see and see themselves in Diddy and not be like us joking around because that like all of this shit is about control. So they want to be their name in your mouth. So you shouldn't be playing these games no more. Like leave it to the law and let them get caught on that time. The
yeah,
only time we talk about them is when it be like, oh, actually, yes, he did it. He did it.
right.
You know what I mean? But on some pussy shit, bro. Like I feel like I see that like where people don't talk. People, you know what I mean? That's where the strength is gonna be at, bro. To actually call shit out, and when you see it face to face, like one thing I have seen recently, being out and about a lot more, that's
Mm,
been a little bit irking me. Is I had to make a post about it, and not just a little bit irking me, just really irking me. I be saying that like just a little bit, but no, it's just annoying. Like I keep seeing men be um, like the gentleman. You know what I'm saying? In a situation of
mm,
like, oh no problem, man. After you, oh go ahead, miss. No, of course I hold the door for you. I gotta be a gentleman. All just to look at their ass, all just to check them out. And I'm not opposed to like seeing the beauty of a woman, but I started looking at this situation of like this doesn't feel genuine anymore. It feels like you noticed her body and then you had to then go put the mask of a gentleman so that you could get closer to check her out, and then that's it. You feel me? But that feels like if we could really tap into what that is, that's an opportunist type shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that those people are any kind of connection to Diddy or any kind of
Hmm.
abuse. I just say reflect on the fact of what you do for people when you like is that still expecting something. There's still something in there in your psyche that you should check on. That's what you do for women, right? Because if she wasn't attracted to you, I wonder if you would even notice her, or if
Hmm.
you would have held the door or some like I'm looking behind, like go ahead catch that shit kind of shit. There's so many ways we hold the door, but when you hold the door for her so she could walk and then you can check her out, like just catch yourself because there's a little predatory thing in there where it's
Yeah.
like
Was it?
I just want to like I'm just being honest, fellas. Like, I had to catch myself of like I love women. I like acknowledging it. The first thing I felt convicted for was like I'm not gonna like I seen all the men that I was around would always holler at them and say something, and then you get ignored. And I just thought they looked corny. I thought it looked stupid, you know. And then I would never do that. That's the number one. I was like catcalling never was a problem for me because I'm not trying to look stupid like that. Like y'all niggas look dumb. So then you fall into conversation. Then I
Yeah.
learned, damn, it's really hard to not look at a woman's beautiful body. Like, but I had to go. But then it became me learning what liars don't like to look in the eyes. So I was like, oh, so right here, this is how I do knock out two birds with one stone. Be true to this and engage. And I don't gotta be lost in the sensuality of everything. I can actually engage, and this is interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm looking in the woman's eyes, and it's not like you're hiding from what you feel. You just refocused. That's actually when I think about how I felt today. I felt focused. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Nice.
I forgot. I think that's like on the happy section of type shit. But I felt good, man.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you were saying you were getting to it, bro. But again, I want to just add that like this is why it gets complicated. I think for men to just hopefully tap in to thinking about these kind of issues a bit differently, right? Because the same way I think we're socialized to not look at these dynamics and these behaviors, we also then I think again to just continue to accept it ourselves. And for us, I think it becomes complicated for us to look at ourselves as victims when again we minimize the ways in which we victimize others as men. Like even to your example, like even from the way we catcall and we kind of exert that kind of like dominance, even though we don't view it like dominance, we view it. I think as men, we see it like autonomy. Like if we're saying something to a woman on the street, I think we view it as autonomy. Like I have a right to kind of just say something, don't I? As long as I'm not being disrespectful or right.
Yeah.
But it is dominance because even just that thinking that like you could say something, that you have a right to say something, when we already have evidence to prove that oftentimes when we are approaching when men we approach women on the street, half the times it's like it's not a comfortable situation and it's not usually a welcoming one. Um, so there is that. But going back to like now this piece of like violence and domestic violence, why I think it makes it hard for us as men is for some of these reasons again that was just laid out, right? Like we ourselves are not like we don't have these conversations enough. We don't have really like a good baseline for how to even talk about this issue. And I think we've also bought into this notion that we're inherently as men abusers, and so like we shouldn't even look at like our abuse or the abuse that happens to us because it's like, well, again, for we bought into this lie that like men can't really be abused, and if we are abused, you got to be a weak man. You're probably not a man. That's probably for gay men to get abused. Heterosexual men don't get abused, right? But again, I think it's this lie that I think we bought into, and then I think we also as men, I've seen at least, we we keep alive, we regurgitate this lie that like men can't be abused. Because then I see how oftentimes when it comes to issues of male abuse, it gets downplayed. You know, it gets
Yeah.
downplayed a lot. I think I'm guilty of being there myself and not really taking the abuse of men serious, or at least if I'm not taking it serious, by just not simply um, believing that a man can be abused, believing that a man is powerless in a situation, especially when it comes to, again, like a man in a heterosexual relationship. Um, yeah, I know that I've had that bias myself, but learning that, like, yeah, you know, dudes and men do get abused. I mean, we are put in situations where if we're even just talking about heterosexual relationships, where women have used force against us, have used force or some sort of aggressive behavior to gain power and control over us in an intimate partnership, to where we feel like it's unsafe to leave our partners, to where we feel like if we don't stay in this relationship, things are going to be worse for us, to where now our mental health is taken, has taken a toll. Well, the situation has taken a toll on our mental health, and then we're not getting help because, again, no one's going to believe us. Especially, again, in heterosexual, I think, situations where if you are a man and your partner is a woman and she's like can be perceived to be smaller than you, then even less people are not going to take you as serious. And I think, again, I've seen situations where men themselves wouldn't even speak up because they already believe and know, like, well, no one's going to take me serious. They're going to look at her and say, well, there's no way she's abusing you, right? Or there's no way this person has control over you. How is she controlling you? So, yeah, dude, it definitely, it sucks that I see that a lot. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's the, to me, I'm still, I say I don't know, but I still working through and learning, like, how do we get to a place where, um, for men specifically, they are talking out more about their abuse that they experience, or just not even just, yeah, the abuse. Because again, my thinking is that we don't talk about it enough, and so that's where it's lacking, right? We don't even talk. Men sometimes don't even feel comfortable talking about the fact that they settle into relationships that are just unhealthy. Forget abusive; they are unhealthy, and they don't even know how to talk. Well, I'm saying they, but I'm want to emphasize that I'm being general. I'm not speaking for all men. This is really from my experience in that majority of men, like, just don't have, in a way, the language, right? Like, or just not used to talking about themselves
Right. Right. Yeah, I guess I get complicated.
from like a victim perspective. You know what I'm saying? So all our lives,
Yeah.
again, if we bought into this idea that men are not technically victims, and we ourselves are not going to recognize when we are victimized, and so we're not gonna talk to people as if we are. We're just gonna probably brush it off or say things as, well, you know, it just is what it is and stuff like that. But it's messed up. Yeah.
I fell exactly into that pattern.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you? I mean, for me,
I think
it's like,
yeah. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
not good.
Well, the pattern of, you were saying, though, just to clarify, the pattern of like not speaking up when we are harmed
Yeah.
by a partner
Hmm.
who's a woman. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I definitely fell into the pattern of like when I felt disrespected, or I believe that my partner did something that did hurt, and was a bit unfair to me, my partners in the past. I would definitely relate to like staying quiet about it, or when I talk to friends about it, or people close to me, I wouldn't mention it at all. I'll likely either brush it off. Like I recall, like let's say had a bad weekend where something happened. I go to work on Monday, and people are asking me how things, or asking me about relationship. I would likely be like, "Oh no, we're great. I mean, you know, we're cool. We're all right." You know, I wouldn't really get into it. And even when I had opportunities to get into it, I would, yeah, I don't recall too many times where I was open about like, well, you know, they did this thing and it kind of hurt me. You know, it would be I remember kind of like biasly going into like, well, what did I do? And then what can I do to like just make it better? Because there's got to be something I'm doing that's wrong. Um, but yeah, man.
Yeah, I
Um,
relate to that. I relate to that.
and so I do recognize, I mean, you know, where it gets complicated for me is also, you know, for me sitting in the like, well, because in my past, I'll be honest, I don't feel, uh, I don't feel like hurt about my previous experiences, and I certainly don't feel powerless. Well, I've never felt powerless in my previous relationships. So, I one of the things with abuse is that you don't have no control or no power because your partner
Mm-hmm.
behaves in a way towards you that removes your sense of power and control. So I
Right.
will say that I've never felt powerless in my relationship. So at the same time, my struggle was s- like, because I know that I have power in my relationship and I'm not, like, for me, it would be like, well, I know if I was a victim for real, I would be, scared. Or if I was a victim for real, and I even hate to use the word for real or whatever, but if I was a victim, I would, and I was kind of feeling abused, and I wouldn't feel no control, and I have control. So I do think I was also just for myself personally, I would also, I guess, justify not talking about the hurt that I was feeling in my relationship, and at least even naming some of the things I experienced as unhealthy. I don't have to say they're abusive because again, there's a difference between you are being in an unhealthy situation and an abusive one. So I think
Uh-huh.
for
Uh-huh.
me,
Uh-huh.
just not even having the
Yeah.
language to say that, but also just yeah, not having the language, bro. Honestly, and the awareness to even piece it together that way. I would be focused on a lot of like, yo, what did I do? And I can't talk about my pain because like, well, I'm a man, and like it can't be as worse as what I did. So what I did was much worse.
Right, right. Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of men falter with acknowledging their own journey to a healthier path in terms of all of this abuse. Like it doesn't correlate. It's like the strength that we're meant to show and the thing that we actually go through. It doesn't seem to actually create something well rounded where when we talk about expressing that it actually feels like two opposing forces that collide and would destroy us. You feel me? Like you they're we are human. Fellas, like we're human. Like we're gonna feel weak. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you gotta go to the gym. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
mean, you know what I'm saying, you gotta get your shit right, bro. It don't mean that you fucked up or nothing like that. It's just human, bro. It happens. And that's the thing where like I feel that as a man and the only boy in the family, like I don't know. You would think that with the women around that emotional intelligence was spoken upon, but with I think maybe the fact that my father was an absentee like from like when I was 13, so that's my sister got to leave, but my other sister didn't get it. Like with us, it was and maybe just that in terms of that household in general, he wasn't really around. He was just working, working, working. It's like who was able to show the duality of I had learned this like was the duality, the balance and emotional care for the child, but then
mm,
also telling them you got this, so you can do it. But when they don't feel like they can do it, that you hold them. In my household, there wasn't really much of the holding you when you couldn't do it. It was always like holding you to the fact that you can, you just didn't yet. You do this and do that, and once you do this, then you're gonna get there. All right, all right, and it doesn't allow like for the moment we're not the only ones with a day off. I wonder how many people had the day off but felt like they had to be on. You know what I'm saying? Like do something and they couldn't just relax knowing like this was a national thing. We all imagine that. Imagine us all feeling in America like we had to go do something. We were putting in work. It must be a terrible day for the people who had to work. The niggas is out there terrorizing them like, this is my one day off, and I'm trying to get this T-shirt at TJ Maxx, and you guys don't get it right.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody's out there just flipping out like, man, you should just be home. Like, go relax. You know, some
Uh,
American shit, bro.
yeah, man.
But I relate like when my last like all relationships for me have like ups and downs.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing for me is like when when a few of my past relationships hit the down, where I like to be better at is not like like stocks. You know what I'm saying? You dip out when it's rising, but me, I was like I dipped out when it was going low, like, and I don't, and that doesn't make for a real companion. You know what I mean? Like, teach his own. God has a great journey for everybody. I believe, you know what I mean, that things happen for a reason, you know? But moving forward to be a better partner, I would like to believe that things are gonna just crash out and not go when they crash out. You know, I want to stick for the ride. And learn also just how to be better for certain things. When things get bad, I believe that shit is bad. Like I gotta go. Like that's terrible. Like, you know, as opposed to thinking like, okay, that's what that is, and these there are ways that we can like maneuver around this, and it can be better. You know, where that's where my head's at now, because that's what a partner should be able to do for you. You know,
Hmm.
not just see you at your worst, but know you at your best, and know that you want to be your best. And then, even if you can't be that person for them, if they don't want what's best for themselves, at least you told them. You know what I mean? What you think was best for them, and then you realize that they can't make that choice, and if that's what you have to leave, then that's what you got to do. But for me, I never felt like I was able to leave partners with like a you know I feel this way about certain things, and I believe that you should seek blah blah blah. It was always just for me like, oh, like they're annoying, like that's annoying, that's fucked up, like that's crazy, like they shouldn't have treated me like that, like they fucked up and they know they fucked up, and you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna take accountability, so I gotta dip. I took the shit personally, you know,
Yeah.
and I think I don't know, like maybe we all do that to ourselves, you know, or we take this our faults personally and maybe we can't deal with it. We start like it takes us longer to like actually help ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, because I do think like you were saying to your point, we do downplay as men the moments that we get abused. Um, I wonder if it's because for me personally, I wonder like if 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 there's a have to be a statistic of like what abuse do men experience first. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
physical, emotional, and then I wondered like if that comes into a play where like we experience physical abuse because they think they could rough us up, put us under the pillow. Like, everybody got the story about being held under a pillow until they can't breathe, and then right like their siblings are just like for thinking that shit is funny and shit. Like that's physical and emotional abuse because you were saying I can't breathe, and then they just thought that shit was mad funny. You know what I mean? Like if we're going through all of that, no wonder we can't take our shit seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I mean, it's like you said, we have that, like, we talked about this in a previous live, right? The amount of violence that we also just, we experience from young, and we're kind of expected to, like, shut up about, be okay with. So, I
Yeah,
mean, I'd imagine our first examples of abuse is often how we probably likely experienced it, how other forms, um, play out. We probably experience some form of the emotional, the verbal, the financial abuse before we even get to the physical part.
for sure. And then the
And
question
so,
is, how did you cope? If
right.
that,
Well,
for me,
yeah.
it was just
Well, that's if even men even like I was saying. That's even if you recognize that this is happening to you and you are being affected by like these abusive behaviors that you're experiencing. Again, if you don't even know that these are abusive, like you're probably not gonna address it. You're not gonna know that you're going through it, man. And so that makes it tricky. Because again, on top of that, we don't like because then what, right? Like what do we do with that information? I think a lot of us as men, low key, sit with that. Like if I say something, like what are people really gonna say? And then if we ourselves don't come up with an answer that seems good for us, we're not gonna speak up. If like we think about like who's gonna come and save me, or should I tell this person, or you know what, I'm gonna tell this person
yeah,
that like. Then I think the next thing that naturally happens is that it's like then what, and then we don't have an answer. Like I said, it's like okay, and since we don't have an answer, then it becomes like okay, so what's the point? But
yeah,
I don't know. That again, that's my thinking. From what I've seen, like it's just this like you what's next, and I think for men, I think well, what's next is that like you're making a difference, man. I think like I at least in my experience, I haven't. I mean, I don't get enough of. I don't have enough of it, but I don't think that like I don't think that as men we're truly gonna be mean to each other or assholes to each other. Should one of our brothers really speak up around like being dealing with an abusive partner? Um, I don't think that. I'd like to think that more men are in our heads about like, oh, I am gonna get shamed. Oh, my boys are probably gonna not take me serious, and I think we are likely internally stopping ourselves versus the reality of what it would be. Again, I would love to hear from more men who maybe could be like, nah,
For me,
bro.
I feel like
I
it's
feel
like
like, you know what I'm saying? He'll be like, nah,
all we
bro, you
gotta
got
do
it
out.
wrong. You got it wrong. It is like that. I can't say, I can't speak up. But I would hope it's not like that for the majority of men, man.
My worry is once we get past what your worry is there, then they just keep trying. They're not even stopping themselves. They just keep trying. Like, what do we find ourselves believing is help? That gets tricky. You know what I mean? Like in any scenario where you bring up some sort of struggle, just to keep it general, that you're
Hmm.
going through with your partner. You know what I mean? There are many times where just opening my mouth or just watching someone say it was a struggle already. So yes, clap it up, they got there. But then I start seeing where the other part comes into play because it's just what life is, right? One step at a time, just getting present, and you gotta always be able to stay balanced and know we're up. All right, hold on. Okay, up. Now we're going. Here we go. Now that was messed up. You know what I mean? Like awareness. People will come with advice like, "Ah, man, for that right there, you just gotta slap a bitch." And it's like, what? Nah,
Yeah.
nah. Oh, no, no, no. Hold on. Nah, he don't gotta slap a bitch, but he definitely gotta not. That's it. It's dead. It's over. Like,
Hmm.
everybody got a different, like, boundary, a different set. You know what I mean? And this is again where it becomes the manuscript. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to talk about it all. Talk about what I chose to do. Talk about what people I seen choose to do. Barry's give what he's seen, what we've seen. Like everything matters,
Yeah.
and it's not just gonna just be a yes or no. Not until you choose and you're faced with what it is, and all of the awareness is key because no one can tell you. I can tell you one scenario, but it's not going to be set in the same time, in the same place, in the same circumstance that I said that I experienced,
Right.
and you will see different things. So where I made one choice, you can make another because you saw the other or the little kid coming across the street that I didn't want him to see me do this and that. I didn't want him to see the violence, and there was no little kids around where I was at. Just a lot of different factors, bro. You feel me? So it gets tricky like that. My worry is what since some people can't like again we can't we have patience is a fruit of the spirit
Yeah.
and self control. And if we don't have patience and self control, then in these moments of trials, we look for answers too quickly. And then we don't wait for the Almighty, the actual Creator, the one that this doesn't stop for, the one that got answers, the
Mm.
one that is going to make the choice, is going to show you. We don't wait for that. Like it's hard. It's
Mm.
hard. But like, and it's weak. That's what I say. Like, it's so funny because for man, I think it in general, right? That could be in a woman too. That feels weak. See, in femininity, they gotta wait. I'm sure they would all love to pop their child out at 4 months, but they gotta wait. You know, they gotta
Yeah.
wait. You know, but men, we can't wait. And sometimes in those positions of like, there are moments where you have to wait.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta wait to find out. I think we could use a lot of help in actually discernment and waiting. You know, like you're saying, consulting with some friends, some loved ones, some trusted colleagues, some people that we even like. You may not even have a relationship with them, but if you find something in your spirit that's like I respect them, then even for the conversation, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think you were saying a lot of the points, man, that I was thinking about, bro.
like
Again, added to it.
good unselfish intention.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Again, you were addressing some of the things that I was thinking about as far as
You
like
were saying you was
the
thinking about
issues.
what?
You can hear me now.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Just want to make sure it's not cut off because oh
It's a little
uh
spotty, like
the
the
Wi-Fi.
visuals, but I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why the visuals is acting up recently. I took off the Wi-Fi trying to save some space. I know it looked like you were cutting off a bit actually. I don't know if you knew that, but
Oh, vocally.
no. Vocally sounded good. I
Oh,
noticed
alright.
your camera froze for a little bit. Um,
Yeah, alright.
yeah. No.
Y'all know what I look like. It's all good, word, right?
Yeah, man. I think guys using that discernment is definitely going to be important. And
So,
yeah, I think finding platforms like ours, man, and where they could have this open dialogue, where they could talk about these things and also get advice, because it's not it's not everywhere where you could find it. I mean, that got me thinking too, just like what are some things, maybe some signs that could let me know that one of my boys is probably, dealing
oh
with a
man.
situation, where they might be dealing with either an abusive situation they need to get out of, or certainly an unhealthy one. Because I think like when it comes to like the women in my life, it's kind of, again, not only have I think to some degree been socialized to like pay attention to those things, like what kind of situations are they in, if they have a partner, what kind of partner are they dealing with, and kind of seeing if they're being abused, like that radar kind of goes off. But I don't know that the same I have in men. I think the times that I can think of, like friends of mine and men who are dealing with partners and women, I it would often be chalked up to like, oh, you just dealt with a crazy woman. I mean, I am saying this now, but now I'm like, oh, with the exception of one of my close friends who I know they were certainly dealing with a woman who was I'd classify as abusive. And again, it wasn't talked about as such. I think the way the dynamic was described was just crazy,
I
right?
think I
Oh,
know what
that
you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that's a crazy individual. That's a
But
crazy.
they were making some drastic choices,
No, I know.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about the friend or the
I believe your friend
yeah
that when you had just been introduced to this, I think you shared with me when you was in Kruger.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
you experienced it more firsthand when you was living over there, I think.
for sure. And
Um,
it like even like I'm thinking about that situation because again I would describe it as like abusive, but I don't know that others would. I think the initial response is like, "Oh,
right.
your
It's
boy's,
just relationship shit.
right," or your boy's dealing with that type of woman. Also, he's dealing with a crazy woman, right?
Yeah.
It's like the word
What is she?
abuse.
What is she? What is she? A Scorpio? Scorpio?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Scorpio
They
be like
start
that,
bringing
bro.
up horoscopes and all that
You know
type of
what?
stuff, and it's like,
Talking shit
whoa,
to me.
what? It sounds like he's just dealing with an abusive woman, right? Like, but this to your point, right? Is everything else, right?
Yeah.
It's funny that you said that because honestly, it's dead ass. It might be horoscope first before anything else,
Right. I'm
But
peeping the signs, G. I'm peeping the
um,
signs.
but again, I don't. It's hard for. I think it's just the naiveness of folks, And again, we don't address this issue. Period. So it's like
Yeah.
if we barely
Yeah.
want to talk about it when the woman is a victim, like, are we really gonna be ready and admit it when the male is the victim, when the man is a victim, as a victim at the hands of a woman? I don't know.
And I would like to point out something that uh, I learned from you is how we talk about it matters, you know. And
Yeah.
so many times, if the man is still hurt and he's talking about it in angry ways, listen, I'm not saying anger is bad or anything like that, but like, and you have your feelings and emotions.
Oh, it cut off there, Rob. I don't know if you can hear me. It just went blank for a little bit. Damn. Uh, I don't know if Rob has to reconnect, but it seems like he might be experiencing some issues with the connection now. Let's see. It seems like he's frozen. That's not good. I know he's trying to fix it. Hopefully he's able to, folks. Maybe he's not. Oh, is he back? The only thing is that I cannot hear you, so that is the only issue I'm having. Is that I cannot hear you. Yeah, dude. Um, I cannot hear you. So while Rob is doing that, I guess I can try to set myself up for a little bit. So as we were, God, this conversation, man, I'm kind of stuck on this myself because there's just so many things to address when it comes to this issue of men and men talking about abuse. Again, me being someone who has had experience working with men and just seeing firsthand how challenging it is for men to talk about their abuse, the abuse they experience. So, I mean, we got to get men to even talk about the abuse they experience at home before we even get to a place where men can start talking about the abuse they experience at the hands of their relationships, Um, that I do believe we have to start there. Um, and then more importantly, like, I do think there has to be a piece where us as men have to be comfortable talking about the abuse of other men. Like, you know what I mean? Again, it's a conversation that is ongoing. I know we've had it here at the Manuscript, just kind of brainstorming, like, what can we do? How do we get over our own shame? Ooh, how do we get over the shame of like experiencing? Sorry, how do we get over the shame of talking about abuse? When we are uncomfortable on when we are uncomfortable ourselves. Um, and how do we get over the shame of talking about the abuse that other men commit? Especially the men that we know, men that are close. I mean, we started talking about Diddy, where I think men are still uncomfortable with talking about, like, this is a guy who I probably looked up to, who I do look up to, who I enjoy his music, and now they did this horrible thing, and I don't know how to process it. And that's a shame. I think about the case actually we discussed about a couple weeks ago in the Manuscript with the woman from Paris, which I should pull up the story now. Uh, which there's been some updates there. So her name is Giselle Pellicott. Um, she, as a reminder, this is this woman who experienced sexual assault and rape at the hands of her husband and other random men who she had no idea about, until her husband got caught because he himself was filming these interactions. So the rapes and the sexual assaults, in which he was inviting his men over uh, to do, is just crazy. But there's updates on that, and the most recent update with that case, as it's still ongoing up in France, is that this woman. So let me see if I can actually pull it up. There was this article on Forbes. So I think I don't want. I want this. I don't know that I could do it as much justice as the article as well. So shout out to Kim for sending me this article. Oh, and Rob came back. Okay, so now
Man, oh
I can
man.
see where you at. Let me see. Um, I was just holding down the fort while you were gone. So um, are you back?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Yeah,
hear
let
you.
me just get my visuals set up. What's going on, world?
No, you good. You good, bro. I
They
was
they want me to share with y'all.
just. Yeah, I was just addressing Rob, just how, again, emphasizing the discomfort with this topic, but also like highlighting how, like, it's just hard as for men to even go there, and again emphasizing, like, we still don't have much of a baseline for discussing these issues. And then I got into, like, how in order for us to even talk about our pain, we also just even have to be comfortable talking about the pain that men in general inflict on others and making a decision, man. I think now that I know women struggle, like, for example, to like process that a man they know has done some really horrible things and treated women bad, and like, how do they stop, like, how they disconnect from men. But I don't know. I think men
Right.
struggle even more with this than women do, right? Like I think men struggle more to let go of their idols and men in their lives who like are really horrible people. And I think
Right.
there's
Right. Right.
still a battle. Like I don't know that enough men have guidance on like how to just to deal with that. I mean, and then I started bringing up that case from France with Giselle Pelicot, right? And I think
Yeah.
I was gonna pull up the article, just updating some of it. I mean, the most recent updates I already went over. Well, you know about the case, but just the most
Oh,
recent
for
updates
sure.
in which I think
For sure.
the world was waiting for. So she proceeded with the decision to have a lot of the evidence displayed in court, and so that evidence includes the videos of these sexual assaults that took place, and again at the hands of her husband and what was the number, like 50 or 20 other men from the
50.
town,
50.
50 men from the town she's from out in France. And the article that I was sent from Forbes, it was just discussing her as a hero and brave for releasing the videos. And so one thing that just stands out to me as far as like how I bring it to this conversation even taking that as an example of a struggle that I'm sure most men will have to make sense of the behavior of other men. Like I think for the most part, if I talk to men in my life like about this case separately, they'll be like, "Ew, that's nasty. What the fuck? I'm not down with that. Like, yo, these guys are crazy. I would never do that, right?" But part of me is like, I'm pretty sure because these are a lot of men, and these men range from like 18-year-olds to like 50, 60-year-olds. From freaking, some of them were security officers, some of them were cops, some of
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
were teachers, some of them were homeless. So like a range of men from different profession and walks of life. So it just made me think like, well, I'm pretty sure there are men in that town who if you were to show them the story prior to even them hearing about it for real, they'll be like, "Ew, get that out of here. I will definitely fuck with no man that like does these things." And then they read the newspaper the next day, and they probably read the names of the men, and it was like, "Oh shit, that's your boy. Isn't that your coworker right there, bro?" And then what do they do with that information? Now that they found out, like, yo, it was actually a coworker, like your man's that you had lunch with, and y'all was kicking it, and that was like your work man's. Like he was one of the guys implicated in this case. So then, what do you do now, right? Like, cause I'm again, so and how many of us men have even had to have that experience, Rob? Like I think for the most part we've been privileged that we could close our eyes for the most part because abuse happens in silence. So I think a lot of us as men, we were privileged that because abuse lives in silence, we don't have to find out about our coworkers or our boys or our favorite like teammate at the rec center, in our basketball league, like right, our favorite teammate is this horrible person who like is abusive to the people around them and to their partners. And we don't deal with that because these stories are not heard. But what if? Like, and then what we would do? Because I know, Rob, like one of our traditional man box thinking is like we're supposed to be like heroes. When we see men and dudes who are like blatantly abusers, who abuse other people and especially abuse other women who are weaker than them, we're supposed to like hate them. We're supposed to like do something, right? These are the people that are famous heroes, Batman, Superman, you name them, like they were after. Our movie heroes were after these guys who were like these big abusers. And so us regular men, we kind of like got the same message, like, yo, these kind of guys, we're supposed to hate them. We're supposed to fight them. But again, as this case in France proves, like sometimes they are regular dudes. Like they're not these like jokers and these like Lex Luthors. They're not these crazy villains. Like they're like regular dudes who like you probably have common interest with, who we probably share to laugh with, and then they go off into engage in these very horrible, heinous behaviors. You feel me? And then we kind of get a reality check, like, oh shit, wait, actually, do I want to kill my coworker? Do I want to
For
beat up my
me,
coworker?
for
You know what
me,
I'm saying?
bro, that's why the enemy is not the people. That what I'm saying. It's the intangibles. It's those little things. It's like you, you know, uh, and then the more that you put it off, is that the higher the tower sits, that feels like it's gonna collapse on you, and it becomes a daunting task. Like you're a testament to like even just seeing that you saw language early on
Yeah.
being a problem. You didn't push it onto anybody, but you addressed it and took accountability for yourself. Then naturally, what I'm saying, what that does naturally is as you're with people that are not the enemy, but the intangible things, that language, as you see that, you come to tackle that. but then you find how these people are my friends, and just because I make the decision that like the powers that be that I can't see want me to see that this is an enemy, but I say don't be fooled. This is not he's not the enemy. He needs people like me to be around to still see some love in him, but then see how he don't see love in me just because I'm talking about this. Like, what do you love more? The fact that you could call women bitches and sluts, or the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you actually have women in your life, men and women in your life, the people, bro.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, fuck all these words, fuck all these small little things. You know what I'm saying? Like, deal with the shit that you see. Like, that's what I'm talking about when, like, when they make a gesture. Like, I'm now more in the public and I see consistently, like I told you, men, you know, when we see a beautiful woman, it's not a problem to see a beautiful woman and acknowledge her and say something, yo, bro, fire, fire. Like that's all right. To me, in my opinion, that's all right. But now when it becomes a thing where you gotta be like, you know,
You gotta stop them. Gotta
you
interrupt
gotta
their
say
day. Yeah.
you need to take their attention,
Mm.
like you all these innuendos,
Or
you know
you
what I'm
force the
saying?
other boys to like OD participate too. Like, but look, look, look. Like, yo, but look.
Anything
Like, you know what I'm
forced,
saying? Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
with it, bro. Life is flows.
yeah.
It flows, bro. You can't force
Mm.
these things. That's for scientists and all that other shit that they forcing things. I'm talking about flow, bro, a natural state of
Yeah,
being. So, like it is, address things as they come.
yeah,
God won't, in my opinion, God won't make it that you have such a daunting task to talk to somebody about something. Like it will be that you had a moment and you let it pass and let it pass and let it pass, and now it feels like this. And that's what I had to come to learn. You know, there were many things that and because I treated myself like that, that's how reflective all this is. I didn't take your shit seriously and talk to you about yours, because guess what? I don't do that for me. Why? Guess what? Because I can't do it in a loving way. I don't talk to myself in a loving way when I make those mistakes. So guess what?
yeah,
That's why I didn't talk to you about it. And it becomes that kind of thing where it's the same journey.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And so to each his
yeah,
own. Like Diddy is not alone, you know what I'm saying? And I pray that he finds the people that he needs, that they sought help,
yeah,
that they got better. You feel me? Like, and that's just where it's at. You know what I mean? He don't need my name in his mouth talking about no Diddy. Like he needs somebody else to see him as Sean Combs, who doesn't have to be any of this extra shit and actually could have an open sexual life and not have to do anything secretive. You know what I mean? All of this
yeah,
is just sexual oppression and sexual exploitation,
yeah,
sexual
yeah,
suppression and exploitation. Two extremes where it's like balance, 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 bro. God is
mm,
always talking to me about balance. You know?
yeah. And then I think at some point there needs to be a space though, Rob, like where again we do know what to do, because I think again we do need guidance, you know. So
Right, right.
um, I think people want answers, dude, and I think men would want answers, right? I think I could hear some men now tell me, yeah, but okay, so what you want me to do with that information, right? So
But what is
like,
the problem?
you know,
What
so
you
I
know what I
could see
mean?
other
What
men
the
being like,
sexual like urges maybe?
no, 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 no. What do you want me to do about the abuse that's happening, or the abuse that I see, the abuse that I'm noticing, and like, oh, you
Well,
want men to talk about their abuse, but like, what do you want me to do? You want me to tell them to talk about it? You want me to force them? I can't force them, and right, I could see also men being like, and so what do you want
that's
me to
how you
do?
gotta deal with yourself.
You
That'll be
know,
my answer to all these men who try to have
and
all
then
this
like,
hero shit.
but or
Are
like,
you abusive?
what
Answer
if
your abuse
I bring
first,
them
because
into
then
a
you're a hypocrite.
well, okay, so like, what if I was to bring a scenario like, let's say we were in France, and like this case in France happened here, and then you know, well, you find out it is a coworker of yours. Like, what do you like? Again, I think the pushback I could see somebody giving me is like, so then what do you want me to do? Stop talking to them? Okay, so I'll stop talking to them, and then what? And then I think men, what happens is that we treat these cases individually. Because then again, I ask myself, okay, so what? I'm asking myself now, like, well, what would I do? Like, because you know, just the same way that like women have to like support, or they don't have to, but there's like this culture of like trying to find out which men are predators, and knowing who they should stay away from, and then they have these conversations. But like, we don't either, but we are also falling victim to that too. You know what I mean? Like, because again, our coworkers who are men could be victimizing other people. They could be trying to harm us in some way, and we don't know either. We also don't know who we're dealing with. Um, but if we find this out, like I'm trying to think, like I'm thinking about my, you know, if these were my coworkers, right? Like, let's say, unfortunately, let's say one of them were to pop up on that list of men who did these like horrible things to this woman in Giselle. Like, what would be my reaction to this person? Like, would I seriously address them? I mean, honestly, right now, my initial thought is that I think I would. I'm thinking about like, again, not that this is the case, but I'm thinking like of the male coworkers who I'm pretty cool with, have a solid relationship. I think if I was to find this out over the weekend and then I'm going to work tomorrow, when I'm clocking in, I am certainly side eyeing them. Like, I'm absolutely like side eyeing them.
I can't even do it right now.
Like I can't even do it either. But I'm like
This
the
is
hardest side
like
eye.
that's
Like,
extreme.
yeah, if they show their face at work, I mean, I don't like knowing me right now. Like, I don't see how. I probably won't address it because I'm gonna say something funny, but I probably would have like let that person know that like I do not fuck with you, like
Well, first and
because
foremost, let them know what you know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, I heard the news, G. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because this is why I don't like that I
but
noticed
some people don't do that,
what
Rob. See,
happened to
you would
me.
do that. See,
Yeah,
which
but
is
what
great,
happened
but
to
a
me
lot
was
of
that I noticed that the
yeah,
abuser didn't want to talk about it.
yeah,
And they just
then
wanted
they
to
didn't want
move
the tape.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't mean to do that. It's a problem. I can't believe you saw it like this. All this shit that I had to learn about what manipulating and gaslighting is like, and then you find out that it's just not one offense. So then it's like it's a cycle, bro. So hold on. First of all, the enemy wants you silent. So I do have to communicate as much as I can.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have to have a whole conversation about with the ingredients. Nah, but I would let you know that I know the product. I know what you're pushing out here. I know what it really is, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I pray for you, G. Like, cause the man that you showed me, the person you showed me, man or woman, that wasn't that. But like, you got a lot to sort out, G. That's a bad ingredient. You gotta get that shit out.
Yeah.
That high fructose corn syrup is not good for you, Gigi. Like that shit for
Yeah,
real,
man.
bro.
Well, I think to I appreciate hearing that because I'm like that is the approach. Again, like I think we should address it. I think if that's the case, if that's you, if you've experienced something similar to that, I think it's important to address it, man. To say like, yo, I found out about this thing, man. And especially I do think if it's a brother of yours,
Just say I heard, bro, because it's
yeah,
unfortunate. I heard,
yeah,
bro. I heard, bro.
yeah,
I heard what you
yeah.
heard. I heard what you. I
Your
know
name,
what
yeah,
you
yeah,
was
yeah,
faking in here.
yeah,
I know I heard what you was not
yeah,
trying to share out here, bro.
yeah.
Oh,
And
so you know what I'm
definitely
saying?
addressing that and moving forward. But I think at the very least, that's one thing we could do, man. Yeah. So if we were to find out these things, I mean, man, just say it. Like, especially if these are your boys. I think even more so if you consider them your brother or your friend. I think there's nothing wrong because to say like, yo, I heard you did this thing, and honestly, I gotta say it. It hurt me to hear it. Cause I don't know, I don't really want to believe it, but is it true? Like I think there's a way you can have these conversations, man, and just be honest, like, yo, it hurt. Like to hear that you did this. I don't know if you did it, but like, what's up? Let's talk about it. Right? If you don't want to like take the news for face value, you can have a conversation with your brothers, man, and just say like, yo, this is like to your right. Address it. I just heard this. This is how it made me feel. It made me feel hurt,
Yeah,
confused.
but they do
Uh,
have to start taking upon. My fault to cut you off.
yeah.
I just like what you said about because it really puts the onus on men,
Yeah.
like hurting ourselves and our image. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of the men who aren't ready to take ownership and accountability start hating women because of the truth coming out. It's not their fault. You feel
Yeah.
me? So they start getting mad at them. But if we can show that it hurts us too, well, I feel betrayed. If you didn't feel hurt, you know what I'm saying? I felt lied to. Like share the sentiment because it's not just alone, bro. And that's I related to that, bro. It's
Yeah.
crazy. You know, like
I know a call to men, man. Famously, I know the guys over there who do great work on this stuff. They talk about how like in a lot of their presentations around abuse, they have a line about like most men are not abusers, but most men are silent to it. Most men don't
yeah,
speak up. So I think we got it twisted in address in thinking that most men are abusive. There are men who abuse a lot, and then there are a lot of men who are silent
now
or who don't address it, and so that is a bigger issue. And then so a call to men does a lot of work as well for men like us to be able to continue developing the language for themselves, so they can even have like a simple dialogue like we just kind of like this we just kind of role played right now. Like I think we gave an example of like just the ways you can address your friend or your brother or your coworker after you found out they did some heinous shit or some uncomfortable shit, especially to
For
women that
sure.
you find uncomfortable. But I think it's that language piece that's missing, man. So it keeps us in silence.
For sure. I want to piggyback off what you said, bro, because this is like the in between, like right in between a rock and a hard place that I see. For a lot of men who, good spirited men who are just like kind of dealing with the struggles of the mind and the body and the traumas that it's gone to. Like emotional abuse, I think the emotional abuse many of us go through doesn't allow us to tap in to actually be on a healing journey,
Mm,
you know, because whenever growing up, when I had to analyze what was going on with me, when I the emotional abuse I feel that I went through and lack thereof of having any kind of emotional stability, you know what I'm saying? All the emotional instability and the not having the conversation and just, get over it. That took play into the fact of like how when I'm going through something and I'm not communicating it, now I look funny because I didn't communicate it, you know? Now it looks like, why are you communicating it when it just got bad? Oh, you should have known. But the way that I handled emotional abuse was benefit of the doubt, let it bypass. It's not that serious. I didn't speak on these things,
yeah.
right? I just endured. No, and then I learned recently you keep enduring until your body can't anymore, until your mind can't anymore, and your nervous system starts getting out of whack, and then it looks like you did it to yourself, you know. And I had to relearn just a whole lot, and you do feel weak, fellas. Like if that's the place where you're at, you will feel weak to snap out of that. But on the other side is strength, I will say, because it is a relearning of things that subconsciously you didn't intend to grasp, but you do to yourself. But it is what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're not allowing people to be there for you. You're not allowing yourself to be there for yourself. All your emotions that you feel, you know.
Hmm.
So a lot of times it sucks because, like when I heard you say, that I'm not talking about it, I started thinking to myself why I wasn't talking about it, and it was
You also
because of the emotional abuse I went through. And then you don't go through that because, you know, that's a tough place to go, because I'm talking about people I still love, people that it's not even their fault. You know what I mean? They didn't even get emotional support, emotional intelligence. They didn't learn this. This is
Yeah.
brand new, where it's no
Exactly.
one's fault,
Right.
where it's like the enemy is not the people. I just keep realizing that, and it's just what we do to ourselves, you know. So
Yeah.
forgiveness is a major key for everyone in this kind of conversation that we're having. Forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of the circumstance and the experience that you felt. Um, for forgiveness to yourself for being the perp, forgiveness for being the victim.
Yeah.
Like forgiveness all around is what I realize comes into play. And I, I I haven't forgotten. When they say forgive and forget,
Hmm.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it's really about what you remember, type shit. Like, and we're like allowing yourself to remember there
Yeah.
is still good.
For sure.
Because sometimes you don't remember any good because it was just all of that shit feels so bad. And you think that all of the shit that
And it
was
feels
good
hopeless.
led to something bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
It
that
starts to
wasn't.
feel hopeless.
Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah, man.
sure. So love, man. You know,
Mm.
I love the last time you were saying, it was like 2 episodes ago, that we just don't have the answers, and I that resonated deeply because also as just human beings, I just think it's very important to not try to come off like you have it. Like I
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
think don't think you can. I think that's the beauty of what we experience here, the complexity of life.
Yeah.
Everybody, literally every second, is making a different decision with this vessel, this machine that they have, and only they have the answers. Really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of what we're talking about. If we can continue to share and continue to also listen and take in as we give out, just keeping this balance of this give and take thing. What's in our DNA as it goes this way, just keep that balance and
Yeah,
keep communicating with the DNA with the strands. We can continue and we can build something beautiful if we just also listen and stay open to different stories.
for sure. Well, no, absolutely, man. So
Because looking for the answers is gonna just keep having questions.
yeah, I mean, and it's good to always expand your knowledge for sure. You know what I mean? Because we so it's always good if you are one that you need to find answers, just that's fine. Because I think it's always good to have curiosities as well.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but
But don't
don't think,
obsess.
yeah, don't obsess and don't think you have the final answer on something, right? Because things also overchange and stuff. I mean, what I even knew myself about domestic violence 10 years ago changed now. So there's things I've learned, things I've shifted, things to consider. So yeah, I think the answers will always shift anyway, to how we even solve life's problems, because things in our society are changing. And as we are, as we're growing and as we're continuing to add to it and try to make changes to this society. So, whew, where
Love,
you
love,
at with
love.
it, man? We're about an hour and a half in.
I feel great, bro. Actually, I was thinking, I was looking at the time.
Yeah,
Feels good. Feels
yeah, man.
good.
Yeah,
Feels good. I wish
yeah.
that I wasn't working on Friday so we could have another music session. But next time if you want to tap in, I got
Yeah,
something.
man, that was good, man. I think, yo, I don't know if I was bugging, but I think I tapped into the phone, and I think we had like 20 viewers, man. I know I
Oh,
wasn't bugging,
oh, we
like
got that already. Yeah, we got. Oh, you mean like now
viewers
here
consecutively.
or
No, 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 on the
music?
Friday when we did the music
Yeah,
one,
yeah. I'll
yeah,
check that out. Check that out. It was a
yeah.
good session. It was fun. Yeah.
I think on the live, no one. I do think people. I do want
On the
folks to
live,
be able
nah, but
to.
afterward we have views. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, no, I'm talking about on, bro. So I mean, on the day
Oh,
of,
gangster,
I
gangster.
think we took like a quick break, and I went on the phone to see just how levels were looking and all that, and it
Oh,
said
nice.
20, like on the live
Yeah,
chat, it
that's
said
what's
20
up.
people,
Hell
even though
yeah.
nobody was chatting, and I was like, ah, but I saw the number 20, bro, and
Yeah, word. Talk to
but
us,
I know
man.
that
Talk to
I know
us.
that that's because folks want more music out of us too, and we do have more stuff, and so that's the next step. We
For
want to
sure.
continue bringing uh to the platform, because I know we've been getting the manuscript off for a couple weeks now, almost half the year. So the next stuff we want to continue bringing more consecutively and consistently, I should say, is the these live music sessions, man, of us cooking up. We have some beautiful music to bring out to the world to continue to promote, and stuff to bring. So
Yeah, man.
and just
And I got
it was
my
fun.
baby back, my Mac. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm talking to you. I got my
yeah,
Mac, so I'm gonna try to throw some Gigante beats on the.
yeah,
You
man.
know, we're gonna mix it up. We're
We
gonna
got
mix
some
it
music,
up.
man. So I could end this wrap up right now like we did last time, showing some of the new music from the 80th. Actually, I'll show you that beat I made. I'll play it now. I don't mind playing it on the
Oh
chat. I'll
yeah,
play
yeah,
it
yeah.
live.
Please give me
As we
me
wrap
two
up.
cat.
But let me while I load that up, man. I don't know if you have any final words. I'll start to move us on.
Just love to ya, man. Just love to ya. I pray you well. You know, I thank you for tapping in. I thank God for bringing you to us, whether it's today, tomorrow, or in the day to come. You know, just to listen. Please feel free to communicate to us, even though this is not in present time. Maybe when you're listening to it, it will be on time for sure. That's the belief. Always on time, bro. You never late. Just act. Just act. I pray that you act in goodwill with your heart. You know, everybody, man, female, non-binary. Like I'm talking to all the spirits out there, man. Like this journey is not meant for you to only suffer. You know what I'm saying? Suffering has meaning, but it's not the meaning of life. You know what I'm saying? So I pray that y'all put yourselves in positions to live, smile, see meaning in everything if that's what's going on. You know, and continue to just be there
Hmm.
for others. If you can't really be there for yourself, try to be there for others in the way that you
Oh
would
yeah,
like others to be there for you, and that good karma comes back. You know, because not everybody has good days, but every day is good, man. Because you're alive, you got another breath.
Thank you, Mr.
Love, love, love.
with that, man. I appreciate that. Good final words from Rob, man. And that's us, man. It's the 80th. It's your boy Al.
Love,
So,
Rob Hegan, you already know.
yeah, man. And catch y'all on the next week's manuscript, y'all.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
let me
Hegan.
show you this now real quick and I'm back.
Yeah, what's the title? You know we love your titles.
I called it Taking the First Step. I don't know why I called it that though, so I don't even know.
God knows.
Nah, I mean,
Name this episode the first step.
the first step.
Yeah, nah.
Let me see if you can hear it though first. Hopefully it plays. Don't tell me if it plays.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah. Alright, you could call it that actually. I think I should be able to edit it and put that. Got to throw the hoodie on for this one. Money, 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 money. That's Gucci. Then I got this one, which is more hip hop.
That sound like the last step.
That sound like the last step.
That's what's fire. Ooh, final boss. Oh, I got a craving. More beat. Got me coughing.
This gave me like the New York freestyle, I felt like grabbing a Jada because I could color throwing it on top of it, just see how it sounds. Anyway, I might grab a whole Jada Kids freestyle, one of his fire shits, and then just put all this.
Jacking. I'm jacking. Clap it out, y'all. We don't need no fake applause for this one. Fire shit, bro. That was like you worked on that one today. Sheesh. Well, one beat and one beat type shit. That shit trickled over to the next day for that album.
That's why I was gonna say, 'cause I really made that beat Monday morning. One day at like 1 a.m., 1:30.
It was a good day. It was a good day. Ah, so Monday was a good day. Oh, for sure. Two very nice different ones that could actually be in the you could put them, the DJ could play them joints. They bop. Fire. Good shit, bro. Got me a K, inspired me again. Yeah. I'm on the throwing my shit into the hard drive mode right now. So I got okay, I'm gonna meet you in the race. Hopefully I get me a nice little beat this week.